Let me tell you something that too many people fail to understand. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you the life you've been dreaming of on a silver platter. If you are waiting for a rescue, if you are waiting for someone else to fix your problems, then you are already losing. Because the truth is, the moment you rely on someone else for your happiness, your success, your purpose, you give away your power. You see, life doesn't owe you anything. Opportunities don't knock politely. Success doesn't wait for you to feel ready. You either take it or you watch someone else live the life you imagine for yourself. And here's the kicker. The moment you stop waiting for someone to show up, the moment you realize you are the only one who can make your dreams real, is the moment your life changes forever. Think about it. Every person you admire, every legend, every trailblazer, they didn't wait for a handout. They didn't wait for perfect timing. They didn't sit around hoping someone would believe in them first. They decided in that exact moment when fear and uncertainty were screaming at them that they would be their own hero. And this is where most people fail. They get stuck thinking, if only someone would guide me, if only someone would notice me, if only someone would give me a chance. Stop lying to yourself. No one is coming. Not your parents, not your boss, not the universe, not fate. You are the answer to your own prayers. You are the warrior, the builder, the creator of your own destiny. So what do you do with this truth? You act, you move, you take 100% responsibility for your life. You stop looking for validation and start creating results. You stop blaming circumstances and start mastering your choices. You stop asking for permission and start taking action. And when you do, doors open that you didn't even know existed. Opportunities that seemed impossible suddenly appear. The power you thought was outside of you was inside of you all along. Let me make it clear, waiting is death. Waiting is fear. Waiting is giving away your life. But taking action, taking full responsibility, that is freedom. That is power. That is how you take the life you've always dreamed of and make it your reality. No one is coming. But that's the best news you'll ever hear, because now you know you are more than enough. You are your own rescue. You are your own miracle. You are the hero of your story. Now, stand up, shake off the excuses, and step into your life. Stop waiting. Start living. Because the only way to change your world is to be the force that moves it. And when you do, there's nothing you can't achieve. Taking 100% responsibility for your life is the single most powerful decision you can make. And yet it is one of the hardest for most people to fully embrace. Responsibility is not about blame, and it's not about guilt. Responsibility is about power. It is about understanding that every experience, every outcome, every success, and every failure is a reflection of the choices you make, whether consciously or unconsciously. Most people walk through life thinking that circumstances, other people, or the unpredictable nature of the world determines where they end up, but the truth is far different. The moment you decide to take full responsibility, you shift from being a victim to being a creator. You stop pointing fingers at the economy, your boss, your upbringing, or even luck, and you start looking at yourself. You start asking, what can I do right now to change the situation? What decisions am I making that either help me move forward or hold me back? This is not a small shift in thinking. It is a seismic transformation of how you approach life. Responsibility gives you freedom because once you own your actions, you reclaim control over your destiny. Many people avoid taking responsibility because it's uncomfortable. It forces you to look in the mirror and face the truth about your decisions. It forces you to admit when you have made mistakes, when you have procrastinated, when you have settled, or when you have chosen comfort over growth. But this discomfort is exactly what makes responsibility so powerful. Growth never comes from comfort. It comes from challenging yourself and acknowledging where you have the power to improve, change, or take action. The moment you stop blaming external forces, you reclaim your energy and focus it on what you can control. When you blame someone else for your circumstances, you are giving away your energy, your influence, and your power. When you take responsibility, you become unstoppable because you are no longer waiting for someone else to fix things. You are the one who fixes things, the one who makes things happen, the one who drives your life forward with intention and clarity. Taking 100% responsibility also means accepting the consequences of your actions and decisions. Every choice has a result, and pretending otherwise is a form of denial. When you make excuses, you delay your progress. When you rationalize your failures as being caused by someone or something else, you prevent yourself from learning the lessons that are hidden inside your setbacks. The most successful people in the world did not reach the heights they achieved by blaming circumstances or waiting for others. They reached them because they studied their failures, adapted, learned, and took bold, decisive action. They embraced the fact that their lives were their responsibility, and that mindset gave them the courage to do what others would not. Responsibility gives you clarity because when you own your decisions, you see the patterns of your life, the behaviors that are helping you, and the behaviors that are sabotaging you. It allows you to evaluate honestly, to strategize, and to implement changes that propel you forward. It's also important to understand that taking responsibility is not just about big, dramatic actions. It's about the small choices you make every day. It's about the way you respond to challenges, how you treat others, how you manage your time, how you manage your thoughts, and how you persist even when it's uncomfortable. Each decision, no matter how small, compounds over time. Success is not built in one moment. It is built in thousands of moments where you consistently choose responsibility over excuses, action over inaction, and growth over comfort. When you take responsibility for these small moments, you begin to build unstoppable momentum. Your confidence grows, your competence grows, and your belief in your ability to create the life you want grows. Responsibility is not a punishment, it is a superpower. It is the ability to say, I am the captain of my ship, the master of my fate, the driver of my outcomes. And once you embrace this mindset, everything in your life begins to shift because you stop waiting for external validation or external intervention, and you start creating results with your own hands. Many people confuse responsibility with rigidity or control over everything, but it is not about controlling others or controlling life. Life is unpredictable and challenges will always come. Taking responsibility does not mean life will be easy. It means you refuse to be a victim of life's circumstances. It means that no matter what happens, you commit to responding in a way that serves your growth and your goals. It is a mindset that says, I may not control what happens, but I control how I respond. This mindset is empowering because it removes the frustration and helplessness that comes from waiting for others or blaming circumstances. It is a mindset of action, ownership, and unstoppable progress. When you fully embrace responsibility, you begin to see opportunities everywhere. You begin to notice solutions instead of problems, paths instead of obstacles, and actions instead of excuses. Responsibility is also deeply tied to self-awareness. To take full responsibility, you must know yourself. You must understand your strengths, your weaknesses, your patterns, your triggers, and your goals. You must be brutally honest about where you are in life and where you want to go. This honesty can be uncomfortable, but it is essential because growth requires clarity. Once you have clarity, you can take deliberate action, make adjustments, and course correct with confidence. Responsibility allows you to take your life seriously, to take your dreams seriously, and to commit to them with the intensity and focus they deserve. One of the most powerful aspects of taking responsibility is how it transforms your relationships. When you stop blaming others, you stop trying to control others. When you take responsibility for your emotions, your reactions, and your communication, you create deeper trust, respect, and connection with the people around you. People are drawn to those who own their lives because they inspire confidence and admiration. Responsibility is magnetic. It makes you attractive not just to others, but to opportunity itself. Opportunities gravitate toward those who are capable, committed, and willing to take action. Finally, taking 100% responsibility creates resilience. Life will throw challenges, failures, and setbacks your way. Without responsibility, these challenges can crush you, leaving you feeling powerless and defeated. But when you own your life fully, setbacks become lessons, failures become feedback, and obstacles become stepping stones. Responsibility turns adversity into advantage because it gives you control over how you respond, how you grow, and how you move forward. It is the foundation of courage, confidence, and unstoppable momentum. Taking 100% responsibility for your life is not a one-time decision. It is a daily practice. It is a commitment to yourself to never give your power away, to never rely on someone else for your happiness or success, and to always act with intentionality and purpose. It is the mindset that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, the average from the exceptional, and the dreamers from the achievers. When you fully embrace responsibility, you step into a world where you are no longer waiting for permission, validation, or rescue. You step into a world where you are the creator of your destiny, the architect of your life, and the hero of your own story. Stop waiting for someone else to save you because that moment will never come. The idea that a mentor, a partner, a boss, a friend, or even fate will suddenly show up to hand you the life you want is the greatest illusion holding people back from living at their highest potential. From the time we are young, we are conditioned to look for guidance, to look for authority, to look for rescue. Parents, teachers, leaders, they all play a role in shaping us, but there comes a point where you must face the truth. No one is coming to do the work for you. No one is coming to lift you out of your struggles. No one is coming to hand you the discipline, the consistency, the hunger you need to change your life. That is your job and your job alone. Waiting is nothing more than procrastination disguised as hope, and as long as you're waiting, you're standing still while time continues to move forward without you. Think about the people who achieved greatness, who built empires, who transformed their lives from the ground up. They did not wait for the stars to align or for someone to appear and pull them out of their circumstances. They took initiative in the face of doubt, fear, and uncertainty. They looked around and realized no cavalry was coming, no miracle was on its way, and in that moment, they chose to become their own savior. Waiting for someone else to save you is surrendering your power. It's like sitting in a burning house and hoping a firefighter magically walks through the door. The truth is, if you don't move, if you don't take action, you will burn with the excuses you hold on to. When you finally stop waiting, you ignite a power inside you that you never knew you had. That's when you discover your resilience, your grit, your resourcefulness, your courage. That's when you find out what you're really made of. The problem with waiting is that it gives you a false sense of safety. You tell yourself, someone will help me, someone will notice me, someone will give me the chance I need. And in the meantime, your life slips through your fingers. You spend days, months, even years in this holding pattern, paralyzed by the hope of rescue, while deep down you know the only person who can truly help you is the one looking back at you in the mirror. Rescue is an illusion. No one cares about your dream as much as you do. No one cares about your future as much as you do. No one cares about your potential as much as you do. And why should they? It's not their life. It's yours. The moment you stop waiting, the moment you take ownership, you unlock freedom because you finally release yourself from the chains of expectation that someone else should carry the weight for you. Waiting for someone to save you also creates resentment. You begin to resent the world, resent the people around you, resent opportunities you think should be yours. You start to believe that life is unfair, that others are luckier, that somehow you got dealt a bad hand. But life is not about fairness. It's about choices. The ones who rise are not always the ones with the best resources, but the ones who stop waiting and start creating. They use what they have, no matter how little, and they build with it until they create momentum. Every second you spend waiting is another second you could spend building. Every day you spend expecting someone else to fix your problems is another day wasted, another opportunity missed, another dream delayed. You cannot afford to keep waiting because life is moving with or without you. The clock is ticking, and it doesn't pause for anyone who's standing still hoping for rescue. The belief that someone will save you is seductive because it takes the responsibility off your shoulders. It allows you to play small, to stay comfortable, to avoid risk. But comfort kills dreams, and playing small will never get you where you want to go. The truth is, the weight of responsibility may feel heavy at first, but it's the only weight that will make you stronger. When you stop waiting for rescue and you step into the responsibility of saving yourself, you develop strength, confidence, and resilience that no one can ever take from you. You start being dependent and start being powerful. You stop being a passenger and start being the driver of your life. You stop being a victim and start being the creator. That shift is where everything begins to change because you stop giving away your power and you start harnessing it. Saving yourself does not mean you can't ask for help or that you must do everything alone. It means you don't wait for help as a condition to move forward. It means you move forward regardless, and along the way you may attract support, guidance, or opportunity, but you don't depend on it. You depend on you. That's the difference. Too many people never take the first step because they're waiting for validation, for certainty, for approval. They think someone else's permission is the green light they need to go. The green light is already there. It's been there the whole time. The question is whether you will move or whether you will keep waiting for someone else to push you. The longer you wait, the further your dreams drift. The sooner you move, the faster you grow, and the more momentum you build. Action is the antidote to waiting, and action is what separates those who succeed from those who simply wish they could. Waiting for someone else to save you is the ultimate form of self-sabotage. It's telling yourself that you are not capable, not worthy, not ready, when in reality you are all of those things and more. You may not feel ready, but readiness is not the prerequisite for action. Action creates readiness. Movement creates clarity. Progress creates confidence. You can't think your way into saving yourself. You must act your way into it. Every step you take proves to yourself that you don't need saving because you are saving yourself in real time. That proof builds belief, and belief builds power. Suddenly, the very thing you were waiting for, the strength, the guidance, the breakthrough, comes not from outside of you, but from within you. You realize it was always there, dormant, waiting for you to tap into it. So stop waiting for someone else to save you. Stop waiting for permission, validation, rescue. Stop waiting for the right moment, the perfect opportunity, the guaranteed outcome. Stop waiting for a miracle when the miracle is you deciding to move, deciding to act, deciding to take full ownership of your life. Because when you stop waiting, you start living. When you stop expecting rescue, you start building resilience. When you stop giving your power away, you reclaim the ability to shape your destiny exactly as you choose. No one is coming, and that is the greatest gift you will ever receive, because it means you have always been enough. You have always had what it takes, and you have always been the one capable of saving yourself. Action beats fear and excuses every time, because fear thrives in stillness and excuses are born in inaction. When you sit still, when you overthink, when you hesitate, fear grows louder, it multiplies, it takes over your mind until you believe it's lies. Excuses creep in like weeds, wrapping themselves around your potential and suffocating your drive. But the moment you move, the moment you act, fear begins to shrink and excuses lose their power. Action is the weapon that destroys doubt, hesitation, procrastination, and all the illusions that hold you back. You cannot think your way out of fear. You cannot rationalize your way out of excuses, but you can act your way out of both. Movement breaks the cycle because it shifts your focus from what could go wrong to what you can do right now. The instant you take a step, no matter how small, you create momentum, and momentum is stronger than fear. Fear is nothing more than anticipation of pain, the imagination running wild about what could happen if you fail, if you look stupid, if you're rejected, if you lose. Excuses are nothing more than the stories you tell yourself to justify staying comfortable, to protect your ego, to avoid risk. But neither fear nor excuses have substance. They are shadows, illusions, smoke with no real weight behind them. And yet they feel powerful because you give them power every time you pause, every time you doubt, every time you hesitate. Action takes that power back. When you move, when you step forward, when you refuse to negotiate with fear or excuses, you expose them for what they really are, lies designed to keep you small. Fear cannot survive in the presence of courage, and courage is built by action. Excuses cannot survive in the presence of discipline, and discipline is built by action. It always comes back to movement, to doing, to taking the step that fear says you cannot take. Think about the times you felt paralyzed by fear. Maybe it was a big decision. Maybe it was speaking up. Maybe it was trying something new. Maybe it was chasing a dream. The fear before the action always feels bigger than the reality after the action. The fear of starting is always heavier than the act of doing. That's because fear is loudest in the silence of inaction. The second you break that silence with action, the noise begins to fade. The mind shifts from imagination to execution, from what if to what now. The excuses that sounded so convincing before, I'm not ready, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough resources, I might fail, all start to fall apart when you prove them wrong by simply doing something. Action dismantles excuses because excuses depend on an action to survive. They lose credibility the moment you show yourself that movement is possible. Despite the story you've been telling yourself, fear will tell you to wait until you're ready, but you will never be ready until you act. Excuses will tell you that you don't have enough, but you'll never have more until you act. Both fear and excuses feed on delay. They grow stronger every time you choose to wait, but they starve when you move forward anyway. And it doesn't have to be massive action at first. It can be small, simple, decisive steps. Those steps create proof, and proof creates belief, and belief creates momentum. Action is the spark that lights the fire. Once you move, you begin to feel a shift inside of you. Confidence doesn't come before action, it comes from action. Clarity doesn't come before action, it comes from action. Strength doesn't come before action, it comes from action. Everything you're waiting for is waiting for you. On the other side of movement, excuses disguise themselves as logic, but they are fear in costume. They sound like, I need more time, I need more money, I need more support, I need more certainty. But the truth is, you don't need more, you need to start. You need to take what you already have and move with it. The most successful people in the world didn't wait until the perfect circumstances appeared. They created progress with what they had where they were, with the tools available to them. That's why they won. They acted while others waited. They built while others dreamed. They took the leap while others were still making lists of reasons why they couldn't. Excuses feel safe because they let you off the hook, but that safety is an illusion. It's a cage disguised as comfort, and the longer you live inside it, the smaller your world becomes. Action is the key that unlocks the cage and sets you free. Fear is not something you eliminate, it's something you override. You override fear with action. Fear will always be there when you're doing something new, something bold, something uncertain. That's normal. But the difference between those who stay stuck and those who move forward is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to act in spite of fear. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing action in the presence of fear. Every time you act despite fear, you grow stronger and fear grows weaker. Every time you move despite excuses, you prove to yourself that your will is greater than your doubt. Action is the training ground for courage, for resilience, for grit. It is how you condition yourself to rise above the limitations of your mind and step into the life you want. The pattern of waiting, overthinking, and delaying is a trap that keeps millions of people stuck. They think they plan, they analyze, but they never move. They convince themselves that tomorrow will be better, that next week will be easier, that someday they'll be ready. But tomorrow is just another today unless you act. Next week is just another excuse unless you act. Someday is not on the calendar. It doesn't exist. The only time you have power is right now, in this moment, and the only way to use that power is through action. Every dream, every goal, every breakthrough is built on action. Without it, dreams stay dreams, goals stay goals, and breakthroughs never happen. Action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Without the bridge, you're stuck staring at the other side, wishing, hoping, wondering, but never arriving. With action, you start building that bridge one step at a time until you reach it. Even failure becomes irrelevant when you embrace action, because failure from action teaches you, it strengthens you, it gives you feedback, it moves you forward. Failure from inaction, on the other hand, is just regret. Regret is the weight of knowing you could have moved but didn't. You could have acted but waited. You could have tried but let fear or excuses hold you back. Failure with action is progress. Failure without action is paralysis. And once you understand this, you realize that action is always the right choice. Because even when you don't get the outcome you want, you gain the growth you need. That growth makes you stronger, smarter, and more prepared for the next move. And eventually, those moves add up to victories you never thought possible. Action beats fear and excuses every time because it is the one thing they cannot survive. Fear dissolves in the presence of movement. Excuses evaporate when confronted with proof. Action is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter where you start, what you lack, or what stands in your way. As long as you move, you win. Your power and opportunities come from within, not from outside circumstances, not from luck, not from the handouts or validation of other people. Too many people live their lives thinking that if they just wait long enough, if they just get noticed by the right person, if they just stumble into the right opportunity, their whole world will change. But the truth is the opportunities you're waiting for are created by you, shaped by your mindset, forged by your actions, and sustained by your inner drive. You carry the seed of every breakthrough inside you, and the world simply mirrors what you are willing to bring forward. The reason some people create endless opportunities while others lie trapped in scarcity is not because the world is unfair, it's because one group understands that everything starts internally, and the other group wastes their time waiting for external permission. Think about it. Two people can live in the same city, work in the same industry, face the same economy, and yet one thrives while the other barely survives. What makes the difference? It's not the environment, it's their perception, their energy, their willingness to see possibilities where others see problems. The one who thrives knows that power is not given, it is claimed, and opportunities are not handed out, they are generated. This is why people who take ownership of their inner world create results no matter the circumstances. They don't wait for the world to tell them it's possible. They decide it's possible and then make the world adjust. When you understand that your power is internal, you stop chasing what's outside and start cultivating what's inside. You stop thinking the right job, the right relationship, the right timing will fix everything, and you start realizing that it's your decisions, your discipline, and your energy that will, every time you tell yourself you're powerless because of your background, your resources, or your circumstances, you are lying to yourself. Yes, circumstances can make things harder. Yes, they can make the road longer, but they cannot take away your ability to choose to act, to move, to fight, to create. That ability is your power. It's in your thoughts, in your focus, in your daily habits, in the way you carry yourself when the world pushes back. Most people underestimate just how much is within their control because they are conditioned to believe that life is something that happens to them, not something they create. But the people who rise, the ones who break through, the ones who build lives that inspire others, they all share the same realization. Nothing external is stronger than what they cultivate internally. They use setbacks as fuel, failures as lessons, pain as a weapon, and discipline as their armor. That inner strength allows them to turn ordinary moments into extraordinary opportunities. Opportunities are everywhere, but you only see them when you are prepared from within. If you are full of self-doubt, negativity, and excuses, opportunities will pass right in front of you and you won't even recognize them. If you are constantly waiting for the world to give you a sign, you'll miss the signs that are already in front of you. But if you build your inner power, your confidence, your courage, your resilience, suddenly doors appear that you didn't even know were there. What changed? Not the world, not the economy, not your luck. What changed was you. The stronger you are on the inside, the more opportunities you will see on the outside. The more prepared you are mentally and emotionally, the more capable you are of seizing those opportunities when they come. Opportunities are not found, they are recognized, and recognition comes from within. The power inside you is the one thing no one can ever take away. People can doubt you, reject you, even betray you, but they cannot touch your inner drive unless you give it up willingly. That drive, that determination, that decision to keep going is the foundation of every opportunity you will ever create. It's why two people can face the same obstacle and one gives up while the other turns it into a stepping stone. The obstacle didn't decide the outcome. The inner power of the person facing it did. When you realize this, life becomes a completely different game. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstances and start acting like a creator of circumstances. You stop begging for chances and start building them. You stop waiting for the door to open and start breaking it down or building your own door entirely. That is what it means to live from within your power. And inner power is not about being fearless or never having doubts. It's about choosing to move forward even when you are afraid. It's about deciding that your vision matters more than your excuses, that your goals matter more than your comfort, that your future matters more than your past. It's about refusing to let fear, insecurity, or limitation dictate the quality of your life. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you strengthen that power. Every time you choose persistence over quitting, you sharpen it. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you expand it. And as your power grows, so does your ability to see and create opportunities. The world doesn't give opportunities to people who wait. It gives them to people who are prepared to act, people who radiate the kind of energy that attracts possibility, and possibility is always drawn to power. The truth is you don't need more chances. You need more courage. You don't need more luck. You need more consistency. You don't need someone else's permission. You need your own decision. Every excuse you make about what you lack externally is hiding the truth about what you haven't built internally. The resources you think you need are less important than the resourcefulness you can develop. The perfect opportunity you think you're waiting for will never appear until you create it by moving, by risking, by showing up. The validation you're craving from others will never mean as much as the certainty you create within yourself. That certainty is power. That decision is power. That belief is power. And with that power, you begin to attract and generate opportunities that seemed invisible before. When you stop looking outward for power and start looking inward, you become unstoppable. You stop wasting energy comparing yourself to others, waiting for their approval or envying their opportunities. Instead, you invest that energy into yourself, into building the habits, the skills, the resilience that make you capable of handling opportunities when they come. Because opportunities are useless without preparation. People dream of success, but success destroys those who haven't developed the power to carry it. That's why your inner work matters. It's why you must prioritize your mindset, your discipline, your growth, your character. Because when opportunity shows up, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your preparation. And preparation is built from within. The more you invest in your inner strength, the more you expand your capacity to seize and maximize the opportunities that will come. Every breakthrough, every transformation, every success story begins with someone deciding to stop looking outside for the solution and to start owning the power they already had within. Once you stop waiting, once you stop blaming, once you stop doubting, and you realize that you already carry the strength, the courage, the resilience, the creativity, the discipline to create opportunities, everything changes. The external world bends to the will of someone who is strong on the inside. Doors open for those who knock with conviction. Chances appear for those who move with certainty. Opportunities multiply for those who refuse to wait and choose instead to create. You are the hero of your own story, and until you accept that role, you will always live as a background character in your own life. Too many people go through their days waiting for someone else to play the role of the savior, waiting for a mentor, a leader, or some stroke of luck to step in and carry them to victory. But that's not how life works. Every movie, every legend, every story we admire is built on the same principle. The hero must rise, the hero must face challenges, the hero must fight battles, and the hero must decide to keep going when everything inside them says quit. That hero is not someone else, it's you. The pen is already in your hand, and the pages of your life are waiting for you to write them with bold decisions and relentless action. The reason so many people feel powerless is because they've forgotten that they are the main character in their own story. They've been conditioned to believe that other people's opinions, other people's approval, and other people's validation matter more than their own choices. They've been told to stay small, to fit in, to wait for permission. But heroes don't wait. Heroes act. Heroes step into the unknown, into the uncomfortable, into the terrifying, because they know that growth only comes from moving forward when nothing is certain. Every great story has struggle. Every great story has setbacks. Every great story has moments when the hero doubts themselves. That's what makes the story powerful. Without those moments, there would be nothing to overcome, no reason to rise, no chance to prove what's possible. And right now, you are living in that very story. The struggles you face are not evidence that you're weak. They're evidence that you're being called to rise. Heroes don't always start strong, but they always finish stronger. Think about the stories you admire. The hero rarely begins as the finished product. They're often broken, lost, unprepared, facing impossible odds. But the difference is they don't stay that way. They rise through action, through courage, through persistence. They don't wait for someone else to carry them. They carry themselves. That's the role you've been avoiding, the role you've been denying, the role you were born to play. You've been waiting for a savior when the savior has been you all along. You've been waiting for a miracle when the miracle is the strength and resilience you already carry inside. The moment you embrace this truth, your life shifts because you stop waiting for the plot to unfold and you start writing it with intentionality, purpose, and power. Being the hero of your own story means owning both the victories and the failures. You cannot be a true hero if you only accept the wins and blame someone else for the losses. Heroes don't dodge responsibility. They embrace it. They take ownership of their choices, their mistakes, their growth. They understand that every failure is part of the path. Every setback is part of the training. Every pain is part of the preparation for the next level of their story. Most people want to skip the pain, skip the rejection, skip the struggle, but those are the very things that make the hero who they are. Without struggle, there is no strength. Without rejection, there is no resilience. Without pain, there is no power. Your story becomes inspiring, not because it's easy, but because you fought through what others would have quit. You kept moving when others would have stopped. You decided to rise when everything around you was trying to pull you down. Heroes also make decisions that ordinary people avoid. They choose courage over comfort, action over excuses, persistence over quitting. They make choices that align with their vision, not their fears. And those choices shape the story. Every time you choose growth over safety, you write a new chapter of strength. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you build a new page of momentum. Every time you choose to move forward, even when you're scared, you carve out a scene of courage that will define your future. Your story is not written by what you hope for. It's written by what you decide, what you commit to, and what you follow through on. Heroes don't hope their story changes. They make their story change by their actions. The hero of your story doesn't need to be perfect. Perfection is an illusion that kills progress. What matters is progress, persistence, and purpose. Heroes stumble, heroes fall, heroes get it wrong, but they get up, they learn, they adapt, and they keep moving. That's what makes them heroes. You don't become the hero by having a flawless path. You become the hero by refusing to quit when the path is messy, painful, and uncertain. Every time you rise after falling, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than the obstacle, that you are greater than the failure, that you are more powerful than the doubt. That proof builds belief, and belief builds identity. Soon, you stop seeing yourself as someone who's trying to become the hero, and you start realizing you already are opportunities. Breakthroughs and transformations come when you embrace this identity fully. Because when you see yourself as the hero, you stop waiting for handouts. You stop settling for less. You stop lowering your standards. Heroes don't beg for opportunities. They create them. Heroes don't chase validation. They build results. Heroes don't bow to circumstances. They rise above them. When you finally own that you are the one who decides how your story unfolds, you stop being a passenger and you start being the driver. You stop drifting and you start directing. And when you direct your life with that much clarity and conviction, opportunities show up that you couldn't see before. Because you weren't standing in your power. Being the hero of your own story means being willing to do what others will not. It means working when others are sleeping, moving when others are waiting, fighting when others are surrendering. It means being willing to endure discomfort, rejection, judgment, and fear because your mission is bigger than all of those things combined. Heroes don't ask, will it be easy? They ask, Is it worth it? They don't seek comfort, they seek growth. They don't avoid the fire, they walk into it and come out stronger. And the truth is, every time you face your fears, every time you conquer your doubts, every time you push through your excuses, you are already being the hero. You may not see it yet, but the story is unfolding in real time. And every act of courage you take is writing the pages that will inspire not only you, but everyone who witnesses your journey. The most powerful part of being the hero is knowing that no one else can play this role for you. Others can support you, encourage you, cheer for you, but they cannot fight your battles. They cannot take your risks. They cannot live your life. That's your responsibility, your privilege, your calling. And when you finally step into that role, when you finally stop hiding, stop waiting, stop doubting, and decide to own the story, you discover a strength you never knew you had. You realize that the person you've been waiting for was always you. The hero you admired in others was always a reflection of the hero waiting inside of you. And the story you've been dreaming of was always possible the moment you chose to claim it.